Taiwan Celts is genuinely fantastic. There's so many people from so many different countries, so many different parts of the world, so many different walks of life.
Hello again, and welcome to Perspectives with Nilo. In this episode, we're back in Taiwan to catch up with the Taiwan Celts GAA team, who have been thriving since we spoke to them in our very first podcast episode last September. We hear about their upcoming North Asian Gaelic Games tournament, the first ever of its kind to be held in Taiwan, and also how the club has been growing, and we meet some of the new members from Ireland. But first, I spoke with club chairman and Mayo man Chris Walsh. All right, so Chris, it's great to talk to you again. Welcome back. And last time I was here was back in August and September. You were about to head off to the Asian Gaelic Games in Kuala Lumpur. How did that go for you?
Thanks very much, Neil, and welcome back yourself. It went very well actually. For our men's team, at least we wouldn't be that used to winning trophies, so we ended up winning the Junior Cup out there for the 2022 Asian Games. So we were absolutely delighted with that. The Taiwan Celts is famous for winning ladies' trophies, so it was nice to bring a men's trophy back. It was our first cup since 2012, so that was 10 years in the making. Okay. So we were absolutely delighted with that, and it led greatly into the 2023 year when we have our own tournament to host.
Mick McCannon is originally from Dublin and is the coaching and development officer with the Taiwan Celts.
Yeah, it went brilliantly. So we had a ladies team who combined with Japan, and they won all of the games on the first day. So 11 or 12 of them that had never played against each other. And then the second day, they just came up against some really strong organised teams. And then the lads, we had a bit of a mixed bag on the first day. Won, drew and lost. And then the second day, we ended up winning the Junior Cup, which we hadn't done in 10 years, with a team of, I think we 10 different nationalities. So it was just phenomenal. And came up against a team from Singapore with 10 out of 12 Irish guys. Came up against a Thailand team who I had played on previously. Again, majority Irish. So it was just a massive boost for the club, yeah.
Okay. And that was the first time the tournament had returned after the pandemic. Was there a good attendance there?
There was. It was like probably 600 players. We'd normally have 1,200. Yeah. So all of the China PRC teams didn't travel because they couldn't with quarantine. And the cost of flights would have been, close to double what they would normally be. But still a huge turnout. Kuala Lumpur, they're one of the best organisers in the world, I'd say, at this stage. So they fantastic setup on the polo ground. So, it was fantastic to be back.
And you also went to Hanoi in Vietnam for another tournament back in February.
That's right, yeah. The Viet Celts, based in Hanoi, they're a great club. They have a huge number of Irish players there and also local players, and they hosted what is an invitational tournament. So they just invited clubs from all over Asia, and anyone is welcome to join. So we said we'd head over there, and it was a brilliant weekend. Great football on the Saturday. Our ladies team won their division. We made it to a final, which we lost. But it was those invitational tournaments are more about getting the community together and having a fun weekend, and also, of course, it's a chance to play some competitive football. So it was great opportunity and great weekend, and have to say it was one of the best tournaments we ever held or ever attended. So credit to the Viet Celts for that one. Yeah.
We did pretty well there, and in a personal aspect, it was really good for me because I got engaged.
Oh, congratulations!
Yes. So it was a very meaningful trip for me. Finally making formal connection and legal connection, hopefully with Ireland and Chile and Taiwan at the same time.
And our congratulations to Ling and Chris on their engagement. Just following you on social media, since then, it seems like there's a lot more people attending your training now. A lot more people on the teams. Yeah. You've got new jerseys. Everything is a little bit more serious. Getting much more professional all the time.
Yeah, I guess it's professional is a bit of we better be careful what we say with the GA, right? But I think we've had a couple of things that have happened. Like when you do well, it's a virtuous cycle, right? So that attracted the lads in. The ladies are just amazing, and it's I think we have maybe 2 or 3 Irish girls out there, so it's just phenomenal. We've got some really strong social media influencers, I'd say, so that helps push it. But as I said, virtuous. Once you do well, 3 years ago, before, just as COVID was hitting, we were sending out messages, saying training is cancelled if we don't have 10 people, and we've got 40 or 50 out there now. It's phenomenal.
Rebecca Nugent is originally from Kildare, and I asked her where all the new members were coming from.
Well, just like in general, there's a lot of foreigners after coming to Taiwan in the past couple of months. I think it's like obviously things are opening up, but where I live, like usually I'd go on a walk, I'd see maybe one or two other foreigners, but now it's getting to like 25% of people I see are foreigners. So it's great. It's more people for the team and more fun to be had.
And they're not all Irish. I mean, this is what I noticed with the people on the team, so many foreign accents. It's great everybody gets on and plays Irish football, right?
Yeah, I love it. I think that's what makes it the most interesting because, like, obviously as Irish people we have our little words that we say, and like generally with the Americans when we're like, oh, we had great crack last night, you know, there's always stuff like that. But that's what keeps it interesting. Like, we've so many countries here. Like, we have like Guatemala, Chile. You met Ling from Chile. Like, those countries always fascinate me because obviously they're so far away from me. So yeah, we're doing great on that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it was your interviews and the bit of promotion on the Irish airwaves that got the new faces out, or was it winning some silverware? But definitely we're seeing a lot more people down at training, a lot of excitement around the place, and as you said, we have new sponsors and new jerseys and the whole lot. So yeah, things are really building nicely this year. Yeah.
And speaking of new faces on the team,
I'm Orla McCarthy. I'm from near Skibbereen in West Cork. Cora would be the parish, Taig McCorriggs would be the GAA club. Okay. So that's the important details in this context.
And how long are you in Taiwan, Orla?
I'm in Taiwan about 8 months now, I think. I've been here since end of August. Yeah.
And what brought you here?
Well, I studied Chinese in UCC in college on a complete whim. Like, I literally just signed up. I was like, well, if I could read Chinese characters, that would be pretty cool. Here I am now, 5 years later. I was supposed to study abroad in Shanghai in my third year, but that was like right when COVID happened, so out of the question. So then when I graduated, I was like, well, I want to go, you know, use my language skills. So I was looking at my options, and I came across Taiwan, and I was like, ooh, this seems like fabulous. All these lovely things that China, but even better. Yeah.
And do you like it so far?
Yeah, I really do. You meet a lot of people who say, yeah, I came here for 1 year and then I blinked and suddenly it's been 7, and I really understand how that happens. It's really nice, comfortable life here. It's lovely.
And did you play Gaelic back home?
I did until I was about maybe like 15ish. From like maybe 6 or 7 to about 15. I kind of stopped when they kind of started getting real serious, and I was like, okay, I'm a lazy teenager, I'm not motivated enough for this. So yeah, I packed it in then. But yeah.
You took it up here, I presume, for the social element and the keep fit. I mean, there's lots of advantages, right?
Yeah. The social element was the main thing, but it is also so nice to pick up the sport again. Like, you know, when I was playing at home, I like to think I wasn't a complete disaster, but you know, I was never one of the strongest players on the pitch either. So it's very nice coming in here, because even with my rusty skills, I'm, you know, suddenly in like the third quarter of ability, because I have all my my childhood advantages. So it's nice.
And what do you think of the Taiwan Celts?
Taiwan Celts is genuinely fantastic. Like, I don't know what I would be doing with myself at all if I wasn't here. Like, it's such a fantastic like group of people. There's so many people from so many different countries, so many different parts of the world, so many different walks of life, so many like industries, so many types of jobs, people like different ages, different stages, like every kind of person, and yet everybody you meet is just so lovely. Like, you know, we come together, we have the sport in common, but like that's just what like, you know, links us to all become, you know, great friends with each other. It's such a fantastic group. I'm always trying to recruit everybody I can. And whenever they do come, they're always like, this is great. I love this.
And I mean, it's also a great like promotion for Ireland, isn't it? Because we don't have anything else here. So, I mean, the GAA is super for that.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you know, like you might see the Jameson maybe, or the Guinness places, but like, and you know, that's good too, but it's, you know, the drink is like the stereotypical Ireland. That's not the best side of ourselves to be showcasing. This is really, it's a fantastic side of ourselves to be advertising, I think. Yeah.
Have any of your family visited you here yet?
Not yet, but there's plans to come in July. which is going to be like awful with the weather. I think it's going to be so hot and humid. We may all melt, but I will bring them to training anyway. I got them all kits for Christmas, so they'll have to come at least once.
And for those who from your neighbourhood back home who aren't going to be able to make it to Taiwan, how would you describe Taiwan to them? Because it's quite different to Ireland, right?
Yeah. It isn't. You know, I actually see a lot of similarities between Taiwan and Ireland. We're both, you know, a little island nation, a little kind of staunchly independent island nation with a big neighbour who we have history with. I think we're both very, like, I think people care a lot about, like, community and connecting with people. Things like, you know, coming together for meals is very important, I think, in both cultures. But it's fab. Like, Taipei in particular is, like, a great city. Like, oh my god, I don't know what I'll ever do if I have to go back to Irish public transport. Taipei is unreal. It's great because you've got such a cosmopolitan city, but then you just like walk 10 minutes from the MRT and suddenly you're up a mountain. So it's really great. It's got like nearly everything.
I lived here myself one time, and the thing I found most difficult adapting to was the food. How are you doing with the food?
The food, I like it, but I also do miss my food from at home, because a lot of the food, it's very much, people don't cook that much. It's very much, you know, you go out and you buy your fried rice or your fried noodles or your dumplings or whatever, you know, on your way back home from work, which is grand. But like, my mammy raised me on boiled spuds and boiled carrots and boiled mate, and there's only so much salty oily food that I can eat, you know. So sometimes I do miss my mammy's dinner, but sure, I'd say we're all a bit like that.
At least it's something to look forward to when you take the next trip home, right?
Yes, exactly, definitely.
That's Orla from Skibbereen. And another new face on the team is Sarah, who comes from Dublin.
And how long have you been in Taiwan, Sarah?
I got out here at the end of January, so about 3 months now.
Okay, how do you like it so far?
Really, really loving it. Yeah,
Okay.
Great place.
And what did you come here for?
Studying Chinese for a 6-month stint.
Okay. And how did you get involved with the Taiwan Celts?
So I actually played Gaelic when I lived in China 4 or 5 years ago, and I think the Gaelic community there, and I guess in Asia, is great, very welcoming, and it's a nice slice of home when you're so far away. So I think before I had even booked my flights to come out, I'd looked up and seen that there was a Taiwan Celts club, and I knew, I think the first thing I was doing once I got to Taiwan was joining the team.
Okay. And have you got a place on a team so far? They have a few teams lined up for the upcoming league. Have you got a place? Are you playing in the league?
Yeah, I think nearly all of the women are playing in the North Asian Games at the end of this month. So yeah, it should be a great time.
Do you have any experience with the other Asian teams, like as to what to expect in the upcoming league?
Yeah, so we were in Hanoi in February just gone, and the Hanoi Celts, there was, I think, Hong Kong, Cambodia. They all put up a very, very strong fight. So I think we're under no illusions that it's going to be an easy competition at the end of the month. But we're really looking forward to having them all over here.
One of the things one of the people told me earlier was that one of the things that was realised on the last trip to Vietnam was that maybe there needs to be a bit more fitness training in the Taiwan Celts. That was one of the things that you learned from the trip. So how do you think the fitness has been improving over the last number of weeks?
I think it's been very, very tough. We all say that, I think, every week, but we're getting, maybe it's an extra lap in or a little bit quicker every week. So as tough as it feels, I think if we look at where we are now versus a couple of months ago when Spencer really upped the fitness, as much as we hated at the time, it's paying off.
Okay. Tell me about other things in Taiwan that you like so far. How do you find the food here?
Food's great, yeah. Very different to home, but I will try anything once anyway, and there's been very few dishes that I haven't enjoyed. But I think my personal favourite is the beef noodle soup. So if anyone gets out to Taiwan, that is a must try.
That's the Nuro Mien, right?
That's the one, yeah.
So, but you've lived in China before, so there wouldn't be a whole load of surprises, were there, from China to Taiwan in terms of food?
No, yeah, very, very similar. I think the night markets is probably the big standout that Taiwan has that I didn't notice in China, didn't really see. And yeah, the food there, it's very different to what we have at home, but there's all kinds of everything in the market. So yeah, something for everyone, which is great.
What would you give any advice to Irish people who might be thinking of taking some vacation or holidays out here? Would you advise them to come to Taiwan, or what would you advise them?
Yeah, I would definitely say to come out. My family were out last month and loved it. Couldn't get over. I think the number one takeaway was how efficient Taiwan was and how easy it is to travel around. And I think anyone who lives in Ireland knows that that's very different to what we have at home. But it's a great place. There's beach, mountains, lake, culture. There is something for everyone, and it's a small island that you can travel around. If you're out for a stint, you can fit a lot in a shorter space of time.
I think I saw on social media you had the family visiting as well, had you, from Ireland?
Yeah, my dad came in January, and that was his second time here. So his first time was actually the week COVID started. So it was pretty interesting for him to see the 3 years on, And then my brother came for a weekend for St. Patrick's, and we had a tournament that weekend as well. And he did his little debut, for Taiwan. So it was great to have them, yeah.
And definitely, the big talking point on everyone's lips is the upcoming North Asian Gaelic Games, which the Taiwan Celts will host here in Taiwan on the weekend of May 26th.
I'm the sub-captain of the women's team, and I'm also the head organizer of the first international tournament that we're organizing here in Taipei. So it's the North Asian Games. Yes, so we're hosting it on May 27th. So many things are going on. I want to try to make it a bit different and show more about the culture of Taipei, or Taiwan especially. So I want people to come and join and have a great time playing Gaelic football, but also get to know Taiwan a bit more.
And how many teams will you be fielding for that?
We have 10 men's teams, 5 of our own, and then we have Seoul coming, Shanghai, Shunda in the south of China, Vietnam and Hong Kong are coming to us, and then we've got 3 girls of our own, and then girls from those countries as well that I mentioned. So I think in total we've about 18.
Oh wow, that's a lot of teams.
Yeah, it's double what we're used to. So
the fact that you can actually field 3 girls teams also here in Taipei is quite an achievement.
yeah, actually when you were here last, when we were talking, we had 4 going to Kuala Lumpur, and now we've got almost 3 full girls teams. So it's just a lot of recruitment, a lot of momentum, a lot of follow-ups with people. But people generally come here and just get the family vibe and stay. So it doesn't take that much work to keep people, but we just have to get them here first.
And you mentioned there you have some new sponsors. Is it hard to get sponsors on board for a team like the Taiwan Celts?
Traditionally it has been difficult because there isn't a huge amount of Irish companies here in Taiwan, and that they would usually make up a lot of the sponsorship of the clubs around Asia. Of course, they have a natural interest in Gaelic games, so we got lucky over the past year. Obviously we've been doing a lot of talking, and even the promotion through yourself and through some other channels. I suppose word has gotten out, so we were actually approached by a company called Linesight. So they have offices all over the world, and they're involved in kind of construction and that kind of field, and they have an office here in Taichung, and we met up with them a couple of times, and they've sponsored us for the year, which was great. And then we have another Irish businessman who's based between Taiwan and Japan, and he's come on board and sponsored us with a company called BlackRock. Yeah, and they have another company called Circulace. Yeah, so we got both of those, and then we also have our long-term sponsor Redpoint, which is the brewery and tap room based here in Taipei, and that's kind of our Celts home where we go on our nights out, etc. And they've been sponsoring us for years, so we're really delighted to have all 3 of those on board the same year, and obviously with the big tournament coming up, it's well needed. Yeah,
I was going to say that to you, to launch a tournament like you are doing at the end of this month, the end of May. It must take quite a bit of effort.
Yeah, more effort than we thought, maybe. So it's been a fair bit of work. We have a lot of teams coming in, so we have 7 clubs joining from around Asia. So look, most important of all is we give, it's not cheap to travel here, between hotels and flights and everything else, and we want to make sure that they have a great weekend. So yeah, we put a lot of effort into it. We have a great committee working. We have a subcommittee specifically just for the tournament, and we've done a ton of organisation. Yeah, we've got our first ever Gaelic football goals currently on a ship coming from Malaysia. and we've used this tournament as a method to raise funds for that. So we have 4 full-size Gaelic football goals coming in, and that's the first time in Taiwan we'll have those. Usually we are strapping Waven pipes to the side of soccer goals, so we've definitely come up in the world, in terms of facilities and equipment. It's going to be a full day of it on the Saturday. I think all of the teams will play 3 group games and then into a quarter-final, semi-final. So we'll do it like that. And we'll have senior and junior in all the competitions.
And for those that decide to visit, of course, social events as well to go with those.
Absolutely, we've gone all in on the social. So we have a Friday night welcome kind of event at our sponsor Red Point. On the Saturday we have kind of a live music event and a traditional Taiwanese dinner after the football. The football runs all day on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday we're doing a live music by the kind of Riverside session all day on the Sunday. And I believe that one of our committee members has organised a hike for the Monday morning up to Elephant Mountain, so there'll be serious kudos to anyone who makes that at 8:30 on Monday morning. She said she'd be happy to do it if just one person shows up, so she's not aiming too high, but let's see. Already 5 people have signed up for it, so let's see how we go.
Exciting times for the Taiwan Celts, and we congratulate them and wish them well in the North Asian Gaelic Games tournament in Taipei on the weekend of May 26th. The event is also dedicated to the memory of one of the club founders, Derek Brady from Bohermeen in County Meath, and you can hear more about Derek's connections with the club in our earlier Taiwan Celts episodes. My thanks again to Chris, Rebecca, Ling, Sarah, Orla and Mick for joining us on Perspectives with Nilo. You can follow the Taiwan Celts on Instagram and Twitter at Taiwan Celts GAA, and we've linked all their details on our blog site, as well as some additional pictures and information. That's at pwnilo.com. Perspectives with Nilo is available on most podcast outlets, including Spotify, Google Podcasts and SoundCloud, and you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Well, that's it for the moment. Until the next time, thank you for listening. From Taipei, Taiwan, Zai Tian.